Hey, welcome back to A Faster Me. This is going to be the Costa Mesa Grand Prix number 2. This is Masters Crit Championships. This is going to be the women's P123 race. This is not a state championship because this is just the open race, not Masters. The open categories had their championship at Manhattan Beach a few weeks ago. So this is just basically a regular pro race. Yeah, so it's one of the later races in our season. We're kind of wrapping up the season a little bit here. I think we have maybe a couple riders that are going to do Green Mountain stage race after this, and I think Marlena's going to do Gateway. Other than that, we're kind of just staying local and finishing up with the Go Fast Route 66 Omnium. So anyway, this is lap 1. That was Elisa that just took off on a little flyer there. We kind of wanted to throw some testers out there, make the race a little bit difficult from the beginning, see if we can catch some people out. Yeah, it's like, I don't know, I think for a lot of these races, we'd like to kind of reduce the field a little bit, getting a breakaway. Especially, you can see the green jersey right there of Colleen. Colleen's a really good sprinter. We do not have a true sprinter in this race this weekend. So, yeah, it's kind of hard to beat, some of those big guns like Colleen, Holly, Shelby, I think, has a good sprint on her. Jade has a good sprint. There's a bunch of people in here that can, that are pretty fast finishers. So we just kind of wanted to tire the legs out a little bit, get some testers going, see if anybody was willing to ride in a breakaway. Kind of didn't seem like it for this race, and I think for the most part people wanted it to stay together, other than us. We wanted it to be a breakaway, but I think the group in general wanted it to stay together. We have some good riders. I mean, like, Courtney up there. Courtney can ride, she's a good kind of steady, long power breakaway type rider. This is Jazz in front of us here, I think. Yeah, and Jazz is a pretty good sprinter as well for the mommies. You see there's a pretty good gap up there, and there's a nice little group formed. I think that group was pretty dangerous. It is only lap 1, but I think they could have put some stress on the field if they wanted to work. I think it's Elisa, Courtney, Ashley, and maybe Colleen. So you see Holly and Joyce thought it was pretty dangerous as well, so they wouldn't try to bridge up to it. So in the race today too, we have Elisa, who started the break. I only have one camera this weekend. This is Marlena on the camera. We have Carolina in the race as well, with Audrey doing her second pro race ever. So she just moved up from Cat 4 earlier this season, and her first race was Manhattan Beach. So this is her second P123 race. So Marlena's going to launch a little counter here. Again, we're just kind of testing, just seeing who's willing to ride and who wants to kind of slow down and have an easy day. And this was the plan. Plan was to come out, take a flyer on the first lap, and then just kind of test the field a little bit, see who's willing to do what and how spicy everybody was going to be today. It's a pretty good course. Our weather was probably perfect. It says 88 right now, which is really warm, but for the most part on the day, it was pretty good weather. I think it started out at about 65, 66 degrees in the morning. It was supposed to be a high of 70, mid 70s, and obviously it's a little warm if it's creeping into the 80s. So by the time the women raced, it was probably pretty hot. You can see in the map up there, it doesn't look like your normal 4-corner crit, but for the most part it is. Kind of plays out just like a normal 4-corner crit. Those little kinks and stuff are not that bad. You see Elisa's still putting a test on, just kind of testing the field. Marlena's going to let that open up a little bit, let some other people close it up. There's Holly there and Colleen on her wheel. with Jade coming through. Yeah, this is a 1 hour race. Had a pretty good turnout. I think Alfie did a good job with getting some support from some of the local businesses there. I know that I think the Federal Credit Union there came out and had a booth and a kind of a money booth, also like a little phone booth with the air shooting up with some dollars in there. Um, have the mayor comes out usually to this race, so I think he did a pretty good job of partnering with the city and getting a couple vendors out there. We just need obviously some more spectators. Had a pretty good BMX stunt show going on over there with the kind of half ramps. There's Carolina there going on her first attack. You know, Carolina's kind of, I don't even know what to call it. She's kind of like an ace up the sleeve or whatever, because she's really strong, but no one really knows her. She came from the East Coast. So she rode in the East Coast the last couple of years, and like in the New York area. So a lot of people don't know, if she's strong or not. As you can see, not too many people went with her, but she's really strong. She is really strong, and she can definitely, ride breakaways and stuff like that. So, you know, um, yeah, that was kind of part of our plan as well. Is like really nobody knows you, so when you go, no one's going to react to it, and you see people are pretty late reacting to it. Yeah, I think honestly, I think we were the only ones attacking in this race for the most part. I'm probably get proven wrong. I haven't really seen the video, so I'm just going off of memory and kind of going blind basically until I see something pop up on the screen. But for the most part, I think we try to keep people a little bit honest, not just have everyone sit in. Yeah, a big bunch sprint doesn't really set up well for us today. Elisa and Marlena are both pretty fast sprinters, finishers basically, but they're not like real sprinters, like true sprinters. They just have, good power, good speed, but it's not explosive enough to, to try to finish, head to head with like a Holly or Colleen or something, or any of those riders. We have pretty low numbers though overall for this race. I think for state championship, I thought it would be more. I know it's Master State Championship, but I think it's just really later in the year. Um, People are doing kind of other things, and some people have been out of state traveling a lot, and some people just ended their season kind of early. But yeah, I'm not even sure if we hit 20 in this race, maybe roughly 20 for the P123. The women's 4-5 earlier in the day ended up getting, I wouldn't say canceled, but it got absorbed into the women's masters race because only 3 women signed up, and I think only 2 showed up. So they got put into the masters race with the women's championship, state championship for masters. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if any masters are watching this race, but what do you guys think about a masters P123 field next year just for women? Um, I know usually women's masters have been thrown in with the 4-5s, which a lot of the master riders don't like. They don't want to go back to like a 4-5 field. But who's willing to show up? 35 plus P123, their own race, masters women. Who's willing to show up if the promoters put that category in their own race, gave them their own race? I think it's a great field. I know there's at least 30 women that are over 35 years old that currently race like P123 and stuff that could fill that slot. And I think it would be great to have 3 women's races on the day. Have a 4-5 race, then the Masters P123, and then the Open P123. I think that would be good to get some of the Masters women to keep racing, because I know some of them are Cat 3 and Cat 4, and they kind of want to quit a little bit just because maybe they're not, have the time to dedicate to race P123. But I think it gives them a little bit of a window to stay in the sport, racing masters, and have it a little bit of a higher level race, more experienced, and just no 4.5s in it. You have to be a Cat 3 or above, and 35 plus. I think that's a really good field to give the women another opportunity to race and have multiple races in the same day. Because, it does get expensive for women that are really fit, and they're going to come out and pay $60, $70, whatever, for one 60-minute race for the entire day. They're going to spend their entire day on one 60-minute race. So, just like the men, we have multiple opportunities to race. I think sometimes we got to, be a little creative, market it a little bit better, and, give the women an opportunity for another race on the day. And again, like I said, I talked to a bunch of women that are a little bit older, and they just don't have the time or maybe the fitness to truly compete at the open P123, which I know a lot of the same girls will be in there, but you'll also have a little bit deeper field, and you'll have like the field is split a little bit, and there will be some people that they can compete against. So just a thought. Anyway, we're still at it a little bit. We're just passively attacking right now. It's not really super strong attacks or anything. Just not letting it get too slow. And not only that, we don't want to be the ones chasing anything. And it's a little better to be the one dictating the pace instead of trying to chase and catch people. I said we have 4 girls in the race. We haven't seen Audrey. Audrey's getting ready for an Ironman, so she's just been doing a lot of really long, steady miles, and she doesn't have the repeatability, this late in the season. There's Audrey right there to the left, the first time seeing her on camera. She did a great job of hanging in there. She got dropped at one point, and then her and Roz kind of ran down the field and caught back up. But then right after that, I think Holly attacks right after that and stretches everything out again. Yeah, I wish we were here. Ellen and I are going to be gone for the next races over at Route 66. Unfortunately, her father passed away, so we're going to be at her dad's funeral up in Oregon. But yeah, that'd be great. Those are our local races with Go Fast. It's kind of like the local team in our area. And, those are like the only, I don't know, I guess they're not exactly Inland Empire races, at least not the Glendora one is, but Upland is definitely an Inland Empire race. And I think those are 2 pretty good circuits to have, like a Glendora Twilight and then the, the regular Upland Crit. There's Jules also to the right in the red Major Motion kit. It's good to see Jules back out here. I mean, she's been out here all year, but just kind of off and on. She hasn't raced a heavy season this year. You can see our work is paying off. You can see people are starting to struggle, and I think Holly maybe attacked that time and got some other people contributing to the to inflicting some pain on the field. But you can see riders are starting to struggle a little bit. The field's getting stretched out. A couple people are starting to drop off. Yeah, believe it or not, all these little efforts, they take a toll. They may not seem like anything special, but they take a toll at the end of the race. Takes a little bit of sting out of everybody's legs. I mean, some of the top riders, it's it's not going to affect them. They're used to this, and they're used to hard rides. And like I said, we're not doing anything so special or anything. Just kind of keeping the field honest and hoping that we can inspire some people to ride a break. That gives us the best chance if we can give one of our girls in a break. But it does just reduce the field a little bit. If you let everyone kind of sit in and rest and wait for a sprint at the end, like, you're just throwing a lot of names in the hat. And, sprint finishes, as much as they're about power and stuff like that, a lot of it's just timing and position. You can get a good jump. Everybody out here is pretty hard to catch. You may have someone that's a really good sprinter, like Colleen. Colleen has so much power and speed; she can hold it pretty long. But even Colleen, if you get a jump on her, it's hard for you to catch. If she gets a jump on you, it's pretty much over. But if you get a gap and she's trying to run you down, she's going to be catching you quickly. But it's just about getting to the line first. So when you let it be really slow and everybody has a chance, that's exactly it. Everybody has a chance at that point. And it gets a little dangerous too when you have too many people sprinting at the end. So you definitely want to stretch it out. Even if it's only stretched out for that last lap, you definitely want it more single file. So there's Courtney to the left. Like I said, Courtney is pretty impressive. She just moved up to Cat 3 earlier this year as well. I think she already has a win, yes, at Chula Vista. But she's super strong, super smooth. I've only seen her race more like breakaways and stuff like that. But yeah, I've definitely been impressed with just her physical ability. So there's Jules again right there. Probably can tuck in a little better if she moves to the right. Kind of like those kits. I'm a little jealous Major Motion has so many kits. I thought about that this year, but I probably will do it next year. I thought about having like 2 kits, almost like a home and away type kit. Definitely not going to have any more than that unless I'm getting them for free. Here goes Marlena again. Things got a little bit too slow. It's a pretty good attack here too. Came from about 5th, 6th spot. Kind of sneak attack a little bit. It's not really a sneak attack, but just how you kind of want to do it. I see a lot of people that are, when you're a little bit newer, they try to attack from the front, and the effort is there, but it's not. You're not gaining any momentum. You don't get a run on the field. It's right in front of everyone, so everyone's easy to react to it. And they typically can see you prepping for it. Your body language kind of changes, and your riding position changes, and you can see that someone's getting ready to ramp it up. That was me to the left there, yelling whatever I was yelling at the time. Got some pretty good live stream video too. I'm sure everybody's kind of used to LA Crits now, but Ray does a good job out here with LA Crits. He has definitely more camera angles now than he used to have. I think he has maybe 4 camera angles, or 3 or 4 camera angles, and the drone. So that's something I'd like to see right there. I'd love to see like Courtney and Elisa, get out in a break, maybe one other person, probably 2 other people, honestly. But I would love to see them get out in a break and just kind of stress the field a little bit. I'm pretty sure right now it's just strung out because Marlena's not doing that hard of an effort. So it wasn't like it was a real breakaway. And Elisa was looking back, so I'm pretty sure there wasn't a gap. There goes Carolina again. Like I said, look, nobody reacts because nobody knows her. So they're like, hey, she has to prove it. How strong is she? Is she strong enough or not? But I think they would be surprised if they just let her go. They would definitely be surprised. As you can see, she has a pretty good gap already. Doesn't appear to be slowing down. I can't remember how long she stays out here, but yeah, I think Jazz is going to kind of go after it a little bit. She's ramping it up a little, slow and steady, but she's getting it there. Got to get Marlena in the draft there. You either shut it down and let it open or be on that wheel, which one of the two. Yeah, so it looks like Jazz said enough is enough, and she's going to chase it down. Definitely have the speed up now. Yeah, but like I said, Carolina's like super strong, so she's just like a little unknown. So I'm sure people will get to know her sooner or later once she, starts to get more of these races under her belt and start to run up front. People then will hopefully get to see her ability at some point. And unfortunately, we'll lose a little bit of element of surprise, but she does a great job later in the race. Just Elisa counters right here, which is a great counter. Just, everybody just used a little bit of effort. As you can see, Jazz used the effort to run it down here, so she doesn't have much to react here. Colleen and Holly has to go by, or I'm sorry, Colleen and Joyce with Shawnee on their wheel. And then there's Shelby and Holly coming through. I always forget the lady's name right here that's in front of the camera. But I think she's now a state champion, if I'm not mistaken. I think she won the Masters state championship for the 40 plus, maybe. I think Ellen was second. So congrats to everybody that won a championship. I know Jade won the 35 plus, or 35 to 39. Yeah, so Elisa still has a little bit of gap up there. The group slowly bringing it back in. But I think if somebody counters Elisa, someone like a Holly counters Elisa, that would be perfect because I think that break would actually stick. But, Holly's out here solo too, which is no big deal for her. She doesn't need teammates in like this type of field. But yeah, it'd be good to know like what everyone's plan was if everybody just wanted to sprint or what. But obviously, it's not too many people trying to participate in a break with us. So I'm sure not. Most teams did not want to break. I think Shawnee had a pretty good race today too. She's kind of quiet during the race, not like a lot of attacks and stuff like that, just kind of sitting on a wheel. But I think she had a pretty decent finish as well. Looks like Marlena's about to launch a little counter here, maybe. Oop, kind of got cut off. So Ashley's going, or Ashley's saying slow down for some reason. She's like, yeah, you guys aren't going anywhere. Just slow down, just chill. Not exactly why. You know, I can't hear the bell or anything either, but there's also some preem laps that are thrown in here. I think there was some $50 and $100 preems. Also some 100% glasses. I think Elisa won some glasses. Yeah, so I don't know what happened there. I don't know why, you know, Ashley threw her hand out, kind of saying slow down to the field. Yeah, because the speed is pretty much down here at 20 miles per hour, 21. Yeah, whatever she did though worked, because I'm pretty sure Marlena was gonna launch a little attack right there, and then she ended up not doing it. I know some riders kind of moved in her path a little bit, but maybe she should have launched the counter anyway. Yeah, and Ashley, she's been traveling a lot. Like she gets around, you know, being from out of state, and she does get around a little bit. I can't remember. You know, I talked to her a while this day, but I can't remember exactly where she lived now. I'm drawing a blank. Um, but yeah, I think her team's based in Colorado. She might be in Boise, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, she races a lot of the Northwest races, some of our Southern California races down here. Obviously, I mean, not obviously, but we saw her out in Tulsa also, and possibly Valley of the Sun. I can't remember if she was in Valley of the Sun or not. So yes, definitely we're taking a little break here, down to 19 miles per hour. So I think, like I said, I think Ashley did the Jedi mind trick on us. She just waved her hand and everybody said, okay, let's chill. Definitely doesn't want to be on the front. Courtney says, I'll take it. Yeah, Courtney's on the front a lot. Yeah, 16 miles per hour. This is definitely, someone needs to launch something here. 16, 17 miles per hour is definitely way too slow. There's a pretty good headwind on this section here also, especially as you get later in the day, especially because you're by the beach. There's always a little bit of breeze. But yeah, headwind section here. After they turn right, it's a little bit of a crosswind. After turn 3, I think it turns into a tailwind pretty much. And then when you're on the front straight, it's a crosswind again, coming off the right side. So yeah, both riders pull off to each side. No one wants to be on the front right now. So yeah, this is like intermission. There's Evelyn there. I think Evelyn's raced a lot this year, at least in all the local races. I think she's done a number. I could be wrong. She's gonna be like, no, I only raced 5 times. Okay, maybe, but I've yeah, I'm at all those 5 races, I guess, the same 5 that you've been in. No, I think she's raced a lot this year, locally. So there you go. Holly launches an attack with Carolina covering. I say it was about time. You know, when you're down under 20 miles per hour, yeah, someone's definitely going to launch an attack. And when you have the pace that slow, covering that attack is going to hurt. it's going to really hurt because, the separation is just so great when the speed is so low and someone gets to launch like Holly just launched. Yeah, they're gonna create a big gap, and you're gonna have to put high power for a long time to run it back down. I think Carolina did a great job. Like I was saying earlier, she's way stronger than people know, just because people don't know her. But Holly came by with some pretty good speed and had a pretty good attack, and you can see Carolina's on her wheel now. So yeah, definitely a good job by Carolina covering attack. It's kind of funny because people may think like we had Holly marked or something. Like, we don't really mark any riders. We're not really concerned with just any rider. Now, there are obviously some riders we're not as concerned about, but we typically, when we were game planning, we never like mark a specific rider. We're covering moves because there's a move to cover, and if that move looks dangerous, we're going to cover it. Obviously, Holly's one of the dangerous people. But there's multiple dangerous people that we don't want to see get in a break that we're not in. So we're definitely going to cover those things. And if we cover it and it turns out that break sticks, that's even better. Because like I said, we'd like to be in a break to begin with. As you see, Elisa countered there, but everyone reacted immediately and definitely on her wheel. Like I said, these things hurt. You can see the rider in front of us. She's putting in a good effort, but, she's hurting. So Marlena's just trying to judge it, like, should I use her energy or do I need to go around? And then she thinks she's fading, so Marlena goes around. The field sits up at the same time, so. Man, I can't see who that is going there. I think that's Jade on the counter. And it's a great job by Jade because Jade's not typically like, a breakaway rider. She's more of a sprinter. But yeah, even sprinters, all of them have power. Everybody's in shape. It's not like you're pinholed to just one type of rider. This is just me making comments on people. But, everybody has ability. And most riders out here are in good shape, so. I can't see who goes with Jade there. But this is dangerous for us, actually, because Elisa countered, Carolina covered Holly when she went on her attack. So technically, Marlena probably needs to rotate up to the front now. But yeah, it's a little dangerous for us because, if the right people would get away right now, we'd have a little trouble kind of running it down or getting some representation in it. So that's a great job there. Unfortunately, it's always the rider that I can't remember her name. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to be disrespectful, not always calling you the lady I can't remember. But yeah, so I made a comment a minute ago saying she was struggling, she was working hard, she had a gap open. Now, one thing she did with her experience is so good is that a lot of people can learn from is she caught back up to the group here, and she did not sit on the back. Obviously she was tired, she was struggling a little bit on that back straight, but if you see going into turn one, she took a nice little inside line because the group left it open. But she went right up to the front, not to the very front, but she went in, sat in, slotted in fifth, sixth wheel. And a lot of people make the mistake of getting back onto the peloton and just coasting as soon as they can and just riding the back. Well, when the acceleration happens, you're going to end up getting dropped off the back again. So with her experience, she rode up to the front, slotted in about fifth or sixth spot, and you get much better protection there. So even if an acceleration goes and she's not able to hold the acceleration, hopefully she just falls back, but is still attached to the pack. If she would have just sat on the rear wheel, then obviously she would have fallen off when the attack comes, and you can see Holly just attacked again. And I think this is the attack that kind of hurt Audrey them, because after her first attack, that stretched out the field and a lot of people kind of got caught out. And Audrey and Roz caught back up, and then Holly, of course, attacked again right here. And I think that just snapped the elastic for them. And, you can't see what's behind us, but there's a good 4 or 5 people that are out of the race now that has been dropped from all these attacks. So you see, Elisa had covered Holly there. It would have been great if they had kept going. I'm sure if they would have kept going, yeah, they could probably. Honestly, that I think they could have probably gotten away. Just depends on how hard they want to work. I'm sure Colleen or one of them would have tried to bridge to it, but I think Holly and Elisa definitely could have worked and probably got a pretty good gap there. Marlena counters here, which again is a really good counter because now we've been 3 laps pretty much of just nonstop attack. So I'm pretty sure people are hurting here. So just like Carolina, like Marlena's actually really strong too, and I know people know Marlena, but they kind of know her as a specific type rider, kind of like a mid-pack rider is what they kind of know her as. You know, she's our workhorse, covers a lot of moves and stuff like that, and you know, you kind of get penciled into that's what people know you as. But when you get penciled into a role like that, people, you know, sometimes take it for granted that, oh, you know, maybe you're not a threat, you know, like you're not going to be there at the end, which is fair. But yeah, that's just kind of how people get penciled in. And it doesn't speak to your like overall ability necessarily. It's just sometimes in the role that you're in, on the team that you're on, sometimes another rider may give us a better chance at winning. So you end up not getting to show like if you have the ability to finish a race or not. But I think Marlena's had a pretty good year as well. Just our team in general, I think the dynamics of or the cohesiveness of our teamwork is, which is not perfect at all, but yeah, I think we've had a pretty good year of putting together some roles and some accomplishments, and then just kind of carving out like what people are good at. So I think that's Evelyn goes on an attack there. Evelyn's strong as well, more of a steady climber type rider. Um, she has good power though, and really good fitness and endurance. So Evelyn counters the attack there, and again, that's, you know, like I said, we're on three full laps of just constant attacks and counters. And I think Evelyn's in that same boat where a little bit of an unknown, like the field might say, hey, you got to prove it to us, you know, because she's in a lot of races. She's really strong. She's, you know, she's never dropped or anything like that. So her fitness is there. But, you know, sometimes people just don't know, like, okay, is she really a threat for going solo? So, yeah, there's a lot of unknowns in people that kind of haven't done it yet, but it doesn't mean they can't do it. But when it's late in the race like this and there's tired legs, I think, you know, a lot of the more experienced riders, they're just not going to take a chance. They're just not going to let someone get off the front with only, you know, 8 laps to go or something, 6 laps to go. They're just not going to let someone get too far. And there's Evelyn there. So there's someone that had countered as well. Yeah, I'm impressed with Shawnee's ride on this race. I think she did a great job. I think her season's probably been up and down. You know, not like I follow her so closely, but I think her season's been up and down. You know, some good races, some not so good races, but I think she did really good here because this is a pretty hard race on a hot day, and she, like I said, I think she has a good finish too at the end. And it's hard, like I said, sometimes it's hard riding solo. You ride solo, you don't have teammates, and you know, people are attacking, counterattacking, and you're kind of getting drug along for the ride. But it can definitely wear you out a little bit. we're down to taking a break again. I think everybody's a little taxed from those attacks, so we're down to 16. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's another launch, as there should be. So yeah, here on the front straight, I think like I said, the wind I think comes off the right side here, and it's shifted later, so it might be a headwind. There should be some flags on the left if they're still up. They're not blowing too hard right now. Looks like some of them have been taken down, but yeah, usually there's a wind coming off the right side. And yeah, the rider that I always forget, I think, is Joy McCullough. So I'm sorry, Joy, for forgetting your name. I'm going to try to lock it in and remember it all the time. But yeah, Joy had a good race. I'm sorry, won the state championship earlier, I think, in Masters. And she was the one I was talking about that I think she, had a good learning moment there for newer riders or not just newer riders, but anytime you're dropped, because she got dropped for a second. And I don't mean completely dropped, but there was a big gap to the peloton. She was hurting a little bit, but when she caught back up, she went to the front, slotted in, fifth or sixth, and that's just something not to overlook, because often, and I've done it myself, you're getting dropped or you're hurting a little bit and you're kind of hanging on, and the peloton slows down and you sit at the back. You sit on the first wheel that you find and try to recover instead of moving up, at least to the middle of the pack or further up to the front as you can get and slotting in somewhere there. One, it offers better protection for you. And two, it's almost like sag climbing, where if the peloton attacks again and it does stretch out, even if you're falling back, you may be able to still hang on to the peloton instead of just falling completely off, getting gapped off, and then pushing your own wind. So I think this is Jazz here. I can't tell if somebody's in front. I turned my head for a second trying to look up Joy's name. But yeah, it looks like Jazz is just setting pace up here on the front. So yeah, here's a slight false front, but it's also like a little bit downwind. So it's kind of easy to carry speed here, but there is a little hump or two here. You don't really feel it at all. You're just, like I said, there's a little bit of a tailwind, and usually your speed's pretty high coming into the last corner here. So you don't really feel that as an uphill at all. I think on the course, you really feel the wind more than anything. The wind, and then after turn one, the road is so beat up over there, it's just kind of adds some stress to you. I think Shawnee maybe was going for a preem there. And yeah, so this is like a headwind section, but as you can see, the concrete on this side is just so beat up. It puts a pretty good vibration through your bars and through the bike, and just kind of adds a little stress. Honestly, like in our race, in the men's masters race, I'm surprised you don't have more of a touch of wheels. We had little incidents here and there, but just because our pack is a lot bigger, we're a lot closer together, and then with the surface being so many potholes and cracks, it's easy to knock a rider like offline a little bit. But typically on this course, the only time I've seen incidents is on turn 4, coming out of turn 4, and sometimes on this back stretch, not here, but in between 2 and 3 for turn 3 on the last lap. And that's usually just people fighting for real estate. So there's Jade there in the black kit. Like I said, you saw Jules in the red kit, Jade's in the black kit. And like I said, Major Motion probably has, I can think of probably at least 4 kits. Maybe they only have 3, but I can think of 4 in my head. So yeah, we definitely only have about, I want to say maybe 3-4 laps to go. And definitely when you get down here, everyone knows it's a sprint now. For the most part, there's not going to be a break. They're not going to let anyone break. They're not going to let anyone get off the front with just a couple laps to go. You can kind of call it the calm before the storm, but yeah, like I said, a lot of the, kind of spicing it up throughout the race, a little bit of tacks here and there. I think Courtney just flicks an elbow, which she really just doesn't want to be on the front. Because there you go. Like I said, when it gets slow like this, someone's going to attack, and there's Carolina covering Holly's attack again. And the slower it is, I said it's earlier, but the slower it is, the harder it is to cover attacks. You just got to spike so much power getting up there. You're going to spike your heart rate, spike your respiration, tax the legs a little bit. It's one of the reasons why, if you can, especially, like we were kind of doing, if you have teammates, you kind of want to keep the speed a little higher. Never want it to slow down too much. It's a lot easier to cover a move from, let's say, 25 miles per hour that goes up to 30 than one from 16 miles per hour that goes to 30. So there's Carolina there. Did a great job covering Holly's attack again. Everybody's looking. They don't know who's going to go next. We saw Jade kind of glancing at Marlena, thinking she was going to attack. See the mommies over there plotting a strategy probably. So Marlena does go ahead and launch an attack. Probably hesitated just a little. Just let people fall asleep. Let them fall asleep, rest just a little bit, and then get it going again. You see, Elisa rolled through there. She just kind of passively rolled through. The speed's not that high. But we're definitely coming in, I think, with 2 to go. And I think the mommies, to a degree, maybe was gonna kind of have a lead out here. You can see their riders are all together now, or two of the three. Can't tell if that's Courtney and Jazz or Courtney and Shelby. Yeah, so I think this is 2 to go. So I think after this, we're going to be coming into the last lap. I think Courtney's definitely gotten the pace up a little bit. She's just setting the, just stretching it out a little bit, keeping it safe, keeping it a little faster, which is great. It's always great if somebody's willing to do that, or if a team is willing to do that. I think we're sitting in decent position here as well. You always have to be a little afraid. You see Colleen's up there, second wheel, but you always have to be a little afraid when it's down like this and you know it's coming down to a sprint finish. Got to kind of think like, where's Holly? Where's Colleen? Joyce has a really good, strong finish as well. So yeah, you're sitting in pretty good position, but you don't know who's like right on your wheel either. So yeah, there should be 1 to go here. Got to look forward. Lisa's looking back a little bit. We almost had a collision there. So yeah, we want to kind of have a little bit of a lead out here too, but we didn't want to be on the front early. We didn't want to be on the front this early. Like I said, you got the big hitters there. Colleen knows that someone's going to jump, and there goes Courtney there and jumps. Courtney, I think they didn't. It's not that they disrespected her. They know how strong Courtney is, and she can definitely make it from here, But I think Colleen made a good decision there not to chase it. She knows someone's going to chase. She knows someone's going to run it down. She didn't need to use her own energy here. So Marlena goes ahead and runs it down here, which is a good job, but I think we make a little bit of a mistake here. So Courtney's going, she knows she's not going to make it. I know even if she wasn't trying to, if she was just trying to get the speed up, obviously now from this point, she knows she's not going to make it. So she just kind of continues riding tempo here, just kind of keeping the pace fast. But it's too slow, and I think right here we just need to go. I think Marlena's on the front or close to the front. This is too slow for sure. Someone's going to come around you from the back, and you won't be able to see it. So we definitely need to have the speed closer to 30 right now. And we've raced this before, so I do know the speed is closer to 30 on the other races. So, yeah, we need the speed up, and you see the speed slow. So there goes Holly. There goes Colleen on her wheel. So, yeah, I think Marlena should have just went a little bit earlier there, left it stretched out. Not saying any results would be any different, but I think maybe Lisa may have had a chance for a little bit higher finish if we would have just kept this pace there. Since we slowed it down a little bit, Holly got the jump. So you see the sprints up there. Colleen actually came by and took the victory. Holly got second. I think Elisa got sixth. Marlena finished in ninth here. So good race. Thank you guys for watching. We got a couple more races before the season ends. And then, yeah, we'll be back to the off season. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.